What's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with this week's My 2 Cents stories, where I take a look at some of the stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinions. And we got some interesting ones, excuse me, that came out, including some sales numbers, at least in certain parts of the world like the UK and all, about Resident Evil 2, to Nintendo releasing their financial report, which to me sounds like it has some both good news and some bad news as well. But why don't we get started with the first part of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be talking about Darksiders and the surprise announcement, or surprise announcement at least, of it coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, Darksiders is sort of an interesting franchise, as that was one of the entries from the old THQ that was released back on both the PS3 and 360 era, with the sequel Darksiders 2 released on not only the PS3 and 360, but also during the Wii U era. Of course, that game was released around the time that THQ went under, and a lot of their IPs and all started to go into different hands of different companies and so forth, and Darksiders was one of the ones that kind of lingered around. So it was kind of interesting when THQ emerged as THQ Nordic, and they started to get back a lot of their IPs and all, not to mention started to pick up several other IPs from other default companies as well, and Darksiders was certainly one of those that they wanted to get back. And of course, last year they released Darksiders 3, and while the game certainly got a mixed response from some people, though, I personally didn't hate the game, though. I thought it was fun. I liked the Castlevania style, or Metroidvania style, as one of the person who comment on my videos refer to it, and the Dark Souls approach to the game, though. I certainly had fun with that title, even though not everybody was a big fan of it and all that stuff. There were some technical issues, but I didn't run into any problems of the game not running, like not functioning or anything like that. I can't speak for everyone, but this is based on my time of day. Well, it seems as though Darksiders apparently was announced for the Nintendo Switch. The first one, by mistake though. Apparently, earlier this week, a leaked video of a trailer for Darksiders War Master Edition, I believe that's the complete edition, for the Nintendo Switch before THQ Nordic took it down. So, and it also made you kind of wonder if that game was supposed to be announced, supposedly if a direct was ever going to happen or anything. Well, apparently they've now put it back up and have now reconfirmed, and it turns out to be true. Darksiders War Master Edition is coming to the Nintendo Switch. From an article on Nintendo Life, links will be in the description if you want to check it out. It states that quote, this was posted on Thursday, and then the trailer came up on Wednesday. It says, quote, "Remember yesterday when Darksiders War Master Edition was accidentally leaked by its own publisher? Well, today the game has been truly confirmed proper this time and set to arrive on the Switch in April. Also, already available on PC and other consoles, the game will launch on Switch on April 2nd, both digitally on the Nintendo eShop and also physical at retail," which, good. There'll be a digital and a physical version if this is correct. The recommended price for both versions will be set at $25.99. It looks like pounds, though, most likely maybe higher than that, while set at 29.99 euros, while set at 29.99 US dollars. I assume it's going to be $30 to be exact for the Switch version, though. So, to me, I'm glad that they're bringing Darksiders over to the Nintendo Switch. The series has always been a favorite of mine, though. I mean, the first one was certainly fun, don't get me wrong. At the same time, you can't help but sort of point out, like, that part is Zelda, that part is like God of War and all that stuff. So it takes certain elements for that. And to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing, though. And not to mention the art style looks nice, and the combat is fun in the game. So to me, I'm glad that they're bringing Darksiders to the Nintendo Switch. Here's to hoping that Darksiders 2 comes to the Nintendo Switch as well. That's a favorite entry of mine. Yes, I mean, it's still, you definitely could point out like that part is Zelda and so forth, but you know what, that's fine. I enjoy Zelda games, to be exact. So I'm hoping that this one comes out, this one does well, and that we get a Darksiders 2, and maybe just maybe, if they could do this though, I would love to see Darksiders 3 come to the Nintendo Switch if it's possible. I know some people will say, I probably heard about, you know, THQ complaining about the Switch should have been more powerful and so forth, but being that the game does run on Unreal Engine 4, it does give some hope that the game could come to the Nintendo Switch. I hope it does, though. I know some people are mixed about Darksiders 3, but if it's possible, I would love to see that game come to the Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2 of our video, and this one has to do with the rumor that the Assassin's Creed game could be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Not like what we saw with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where basically it was through like the streaming in Japan only. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My True Set video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at a rumor that seems to be going around that some of the Assassin's Creed games could be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, lately the Assassin's Creed series has sort of been going on, in my opinion, on the right track. While there has been several criticisms ranging from like with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, with the whole idea of their promotion with Tostitos, if I'm saying the name correctly, to the whole microtransactions in it though, although I will say based on my time with the game with both Origins and Odyssey, I haven't ran into a situation where I found myself using any of the microtransactions. That's not to say that the criticism is going to go away, nor am I saying that there isn't a legitimate criticism about that, especially in a day and age where we see a lot of companies abuse the whole practice of microtransactions and loot boxes, hello EA and Activision to be exact. Nevertheless though, the series has certainly started going in a right direction after the debacle of the mess that it ran into with Assassin's Creed Unity and how Ubisoft handled that situation though. Well, it seems as though that some of the Assassin's Creed games could be finding their way onto the Nintendo Switch. Mainly, it looks like a port of Assassin's Creed 3 and the I believe the Vita, or I believe it was either PSP or Vita version, I'm not 100% sure, of Assassin's Creed Liberation could be making its way onto the Nintendo Switch. From an article on GameSpot, link will be in the description below, it's reported that Nintendo Switch owners may soon be able to enjoy one of the Ubisoft's biggest franchises in their portable system. According to retailers listening, a new collection of Assassin's Creed titles is coming to the Switch in just a couple of weeks. Czech store HERNISVET has listed a Switch game title, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation Collection, with a release date of February 15th. This follows an earlier product listing from German retailer Media Market, or MARKT, for an Assassin's Creed collection on Switch. Excuse me. In response to these listings, Ubisoft told GameSpot it does not comment on rumors or speculation, though the publisher CEO told GameSpot last year that no mainline Assassin's Creed game will launch in 2019, which honestly I don't think that's a bad thing, because I don't like the idea of them doing a yearly release though. That was my concern with Odyssey when they released Origins in 2017 and then released Odyssey in 2018. I was concerned because they did that with Assassin's Creed 3, and then the next year they released Black Flag, then they released Unity, and the whole thing just went, the whole situation was pretty bad though. Anyway, on track. Perhaps this new collection is a way for the company to plug the gap while it works on a brand new game for the next year. Ubisoft has not yet announced any plans to bring its hit series to Nintendo portable consoles, except for last year's Odyssey, which came to Switch as a Japanese exclusive cloud streaming game. Other than that, the last Assassin's Creed game launched on the Nintendo console was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on Wii U. Assassin's Creed 3, the title apparently part of this new Switch port, also came to the Wii U. The other Other apparent Switch title, Liberation, initially launched as a PlayStation Vita. Okay, it was a Vita title. Exclusively in 2012 before later coming to PS3, Xbox 360, PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Now, there's been a lot of people who don't exactly like Assassin's Creed 3 or anything like that. Some say it was like buggy and all that stuff. And there was, I believe, a report on Eurogamer where the producer of that game would be open to remaking it or anything like that. Whether that comes to fruition or not remains to be seen, though. But, you know, I will say that while I think Black Flag is a better game than Assassin's Creed 3, I still had a fun time with that game, though. It was actually the first time I ever played an Assassin's Creed game. I played it when it came out on the Nintendo Wii U back in 2012, though. And so it was actually a fun title. I never got a chance to play the first or second one, other than the Ezio collection that recently came out for the PS4 and of course Xbox One. So if this rumor is true, it is nice to see this game come over to the Nintendo Switch. My hope is that, assuming this is true, that it has all the DLCs, including hopefully any of the ones that were once exclusive. Such as, I believe there was one that was exclusive, I think for the PS3 at the time, which was basically a mission where you had to deal with Benedict Arnold or something like that. We'll have to see if that still remains exclusive for Sony or if that exclusivity has expired or anything like that. My hope is that it does come to this as well, and hopefully they'll bring Liberation over. Maybe they'll make adjustments to that one to make that one run better or something like that, but it would be nice if they could do that. So my hope is that this is true. I would be open to it though, and I would be open to them bringing Black Flag as well. While I certainly would like to see Origins or Odyssey come onto the Nintendo Switch, not through the cloud streaming service though, if they can't do that, then I think Ubisoft should maybe consider the idea of making a exclusive Assassin's Creed game as part for the Nintendo Switch, which maybe incorporates certain elements from Origins or Odyssey, to be exact, if they can't bring Origins or Odyssey over to the Nintendo Switch. Although in an age where we got Doom and Wolfenstein managed to make it onto the Nintendo Switch, anything's possible, especially that one rumor about possibly the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt could come to the Nintendo Switch. We'll have to wait and see if that one turns out to be true or not, so we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I'm open to this. I would like to see the Assassin's Creed series come to Nintendo Switch. I would be down with Assassin's Creed 3 and Liberation coming to the Nintendo Switch, and I certainly would be open if they bring Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag or anything like that. So I would like to see this happen, but we'll have to wait and see until we hear official confirmation from Ubisoft. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to be talking about an update on a supposed rumor about the possibility that the Frostbite engine does work on the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at supposedly an update to a rumor that's going around that EA may have the Frostbite engine running on the Nintendo Switch. Now, when it comes to EA and Nintendo, though, let's just say their relationship, at least from the fans, or at least from other people's perspectives, has been spotty as best. Despite EA going around claiming they have this great partnership with Nintendo, they haven't really, shall we say, shown it in a positive way. There was a so-called situation where they wanted EA Origins to run on the Wii U, and Nintendo said no, and EA decided to cut off their nose and spike their face by basically only releasing ports, or in a certain way, half-ass ports, like releasing Mass Effect 3 Take Back the Earth Edition, while other versions were getting the Mass Effect Trilogy. There's their so-called releasing only, their so-called great way of partnership is releasing FIFA on either the Wii and the 3DS after the Wii U's out, and only doing a roster update, to basically a story that a development team did have a version of if I'm saying the name correctly, Crysis 3 running on the Switch, but EA pulled the plug on it. So, and then of course there was their presentation at Nintendo Switch presentation when Nintendo brought out some information about the Switch in 2017, and it looked like the guy who was up there either didn't really care or was asleep or didn't really want to be here. Whatever the case is, EA's relationship with Nintendo has been spotty at best, especially since the only games they've released so far have been 2 versions of FIFA that have missed some certain features and don't even run on the Frostbite engine. Now, last year, a YouTuber by the name of the Doc, or Drake81, DOCTRE81, did a video last year where he supposedly discovered, and this is from his perspective, basically found a linking page which basically had information of someone working on the Frostbite engine and basically mentioned the Nintendo Switch. Now, he recently did an update on this as well. On his video, I'll have a link in the description. And several other sites have started to pick this up, though, as well. From an article from Nintendo Life, it's reported that at the start of this month, or December or January, there was a rumor EA was working on Frostbite engine support for the Nintendo Switch. It began to circulate when YouTuber Drake81, again I apologize if I'm not saying his name correctly, found an interesting detail on an EA software engine linking webpage revealing how the individual has been working on bringing existing software development kits to the Nintendo Switch, and went on to state they have worked on SDKs previously used in Battlefield 5 and Anthem. In the latest update, the same linking page has now been updated. The profile, edit removes any mention of the Switch supporting existing software kit and instead makes mention of a different platform. They show the picture of it though. As we previously, and then they continue saying, as we previously explained, FIFA on the Switch, FIFA games on Switch are currently running on a custom-made engine. If EA does bring Frostbite engine support to the Switch, it means that games such as FIFA will utilize the same engine as the Xbox One and PS4 counterpart. There's obviously speculation that this could result in other Frostbite games being brought across the Nintendo hybrid platform in the future. In 2017, one of EA's FIFA, I think, lead designers or one of the developers said the development team opted with a custom-made engine on the Switch as it didn't want a new FIFA game at the time to run on low-quality version of the Frostbite engine. Their comment was, quote, "We intentionally chose to do a custom engine because we felt rather and tried to get the Frostbite engine running and end up having to downside things and make it just smaller, make a smaller, low-quality version of the PS4 and Xbox One version. We wanted this to be a FIFA that stands on its own 2 feet. EA may have since worked out a way to get this engine up and running on the Switch with fewer compromise." Now, the thing about this linking page, changing it from originally saying, quote, engineer already existing SDK for Nintendo Switch to different platform can mean many things. It could mean that either A, this was a typo and that it doesn't really run on the Switch, or B, it could also mean it does, but didn't want to reveal anything at this time or anything like that. Either way, I remember doing a response to this when this rumor started to come out. And again, I do want to say, just like I said before, though, I have nothing against Drake81 or any other YouTubers like that. Just expressing my opinion on this. My thoughts on this is that even if this rumor is true, even if the Frostbite engine does run on the Nintendo Switch with probably some few compromise, I'm still not 100% convinced EA is going all out on the Nintendo Switch, though. I mean, so far we've only seen maybe like 3 games from them come to the Nintendo Switch. 2 of them FIFA, and 1 is an indie game they published, though. And right now, EA is not really in the best reputation. There are basically the cancellation of several Star Wars games, including the one originally from Visceral before they shut Visceral down, and the supposedly open world Star Wars game that they've now pulled the plug on that. Not to mention reports that the CEO doesn't really care about the Star Wars license at all. There's even reports of basically with Anthem, the demo recently came out, and supposedly the demo doesn't work well. And now there are claims that there are microtransactions not only in Anthem, but of course some of them, supposedly skins, are going to be up to say $20 to be exact. So not everyone's thrilled at. And given the reputation, I'm just not sure. I just really don't have a lot of confidence that EA will support the Nintendo Switch, even if the Switch is doing well. To me, this is as for seeing a game, seeing something like the Frostbite engine to run on the Switch, to me is almost as believable as Randy Pitcher, the CEO of Gearbox, saying, let's see 1 million treats and I'll put Borderlands 2 on the Nintendo Switch. As much as I would like to see Borderlands 2 and the Borderlands series come to the Nintendo Switch, I'm not holding my breath considering some of the comments they've made about either about Nintendo or the Nintendo Switch in general in the past. So I'm just not convinced that they're going to throw huge amount of support to Nintendo Switch. Again, I could be wrong, and they could do so. They could actually be more open to supporting the Nintendo Switch now than before, but I'm not sure if their games are going to sell well given the reputation EA has basically earned over the years. And given their response have been lately the we don't give a damn kind of response. So overall, it is possible this changing could be the fact that the Frostbite engine could run on the Switch. It could be that it might have been just a typo, but I still stand behind my position where even if this is true, I'm not convinced EA is going to support the Nintendo Switch or bring games running on the Frostbite engine running on the Nintendo Switch. Oh, and let's not forget the fact of how well Mass Effect Andromeda ran on the with the Frostbite engine to be exact. So again, we'll wait and see, but right now I'm still standing behind my original position when this rumor started, which is I'm not convinced at this moment. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 4, and this one has to do with some results coming in for Resident Evil 2, the remake that came out, and apparently there may be some positive, and certainly sounds like there are some positive news for it. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at some good reports for Resident Evil 2. Now, as some of you are probably aware, Resident Evil 2 I believe came out last week though. This is the remake of the classic 1998 game that was released on the original PlayStation. It was also ported over to the Nintendo 64 in 1999 by a developer known as Aulx Studio, which would eventually develop Red Dead Revolver, and that they would be purchased by Rockstar and so forth. So, and I've been playing the game for a bit. I'm still on Leon's campaign, so I still have to go through some of the stuff though. And I will say, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far with the game though. I feel as though this is a remake done right though, and I would love to see, you know, if they remade Resident Evil 3 and Code Veronica in a similar approach, the same way they did with Resident Evil 2 remake though. And well, it seems to be that this remake is paying off, and certainly people are applauding it, as the game certainly has done has sold well at the very least. According to several articles, links will be in the description, from The Hollywood Reporter, they're reporting about Resident Evil shipped 3 million copies in its first week. The new version of the 1998 survival horror classic has now put the franchise sale over 88 million global units sold. The article points out though, quote, Capcom disclosed on Tuesday that its remake Resident Evil 2 has shipped 3 million units globally in the first week of sales for the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Originally released in 1998 for the Sony PlayStation console, Resident Evil 2 sold nearly 5 million copies in its lifetime, making it the survival horror's best-selling franchise on a single console and its 4th best-selling title in the series. Now, over 20 years later, the remake of the game has risen from the grave and helped raise the overall Resident Evil sales to 88 million units total in the franchise 23 history. The success of Resident Evil 2 Remake follows Capcom's Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, which has sold 6 million copies since its release in 2017. While Resident Evil 2 big sales are a definite win for Capcom, don't expect any other remakes in the franchise in the near future. They're saying that one of the folks who worked on the game told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "All of our effort and focus are on Resident Evil 2 at the moment," one of the producers said. Meanwhile, according to, I believe, Silicon, Siliconera, they've showed out in the Japanese charts for I believe this week. It showed Resident Evil 2 entering at number 2, no pun intended, with 252,848 units sold so far. The number 1 game right now, in Japan, at least for this week, is Kingdom Hearts 3, which enters in at, obviously, at number 1 with 610,077 units sold so far, with New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe knocked down, I believe last week was at number 1, knocked down to number 3 with this week's sales with 57,725, making the total sales so far at 312,869 units sold so far. Over in the UK, Resident Evil 2 apparently debuted at number 1, knocking New Super Mario Bros. U down to the number 4 spot, with Red Dead Redemption 2 hanging in at number 2, Call of Duty for Black Ops 4 at number 3, FIFA 19 at number 5, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown, I believe was at number 2 last week, it's now knocked down to number 6, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 8, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 9. That game obviously is not going to die, and I have a feeling there's a good chance Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to probably be in the same situation. And Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy at number 10. It's great that Resident Evil 2, the remake, is doing really well, though. I'm happy that the game is done very well, and it's great to see the series start seeing a revival after the disaster that was Resident Evil 5 and 6. Although I felt 6 did improve in some areas with 5, nevertheless, not everyone liked it though, and I can understand the criticism about that one, because it felt like they were trying to be everything to everyone, and that ended up turning off a lot of people though. 7 obviously brought the series back on track, even though there were some decisions I don't 100% agree with. I still enjoyed that game, to be exact, and to see the remake of Resident Evil 2 do very well is really good. It is unfortunate, as a Mario fan, as a Nintendo fan, to see New Super Mario Bros. U knocked down from its top spot, but it's obviously clear it wasn't going to be in that spot forever, though. So, yes, the game did very well, and I was a little bit surprised to see that game become number 1 in the UK for 2 weeks, even not having Ace Combat 7 dethrone it, though. It would have been even more surprising if it turned out either Kingdom Hearts 3 or Resident Evil 2 Remake wouldn't dethrone it. But obviously, it did, so, well, somewhat disappointed, but you know what? It is what it is, and obviously it wasn't going to stay at the number 1 spot forever, so, and obviously it did well, though, so great that it did well and all, but kudos to Capcom, and good that the Resident Evil 2 Remake is a success, though. And while they're saying they're focusing on this one right now, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere at Capcom they're maybe thinking of ideas of what they could do for a remake of the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis or Code Veronica, though. And I would be open to the idea if they use the Resident Evil engine or like Unreal 4 engine or something like that, but if they take the approach with what they did with Resident Evil 2 and maybe apply it to, say, maybe bring back some of their other IPs, like maybe a remake of the first or second Dino Crisis. That would be interesting. I never got a chance to try it out, so that would be great. And maybe do a proper Dino Crisis 3, or maybe, just maybe, perhaps bring in a brand new entry of the Onimusha series. I mean, that series was like, many claim to be like Resident Evil, but with samurais and so forth. If they were to use the Resident Evil engine or Unreal Engine 4 and take the approach similar to what they did with Resident Evil 2 Remake, I would be down with that. I absolutely would be down with that. But overall, I will say that good that Resident Evil 2 is doing very well. We'll see how well it does in the UK and how long it stays at the #1 spot. It'll be interesting to see where a place is going to be when NPT releases, I believe, their sales numbers when that happens. Not to mention, we'll be interested to see where Kingdom Hearts 3 and New Super Mario Bros. U are placed on it. And here's to hoping that it will convince, here's hoping, and I believe, although I believe this is happening, but here's to hoping that it convinces Capcom to do a Resident Evil 3 remake and a Code Veronica remake. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 5, and Nintendo, and this one will be based off Nintendo releasing their financial report, and at least from my perspective, it sounds like it's kind of mixed in a way, at least regarding the Nintendo Switch, but we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 5 of our My 2 Cent video for this week, and for this one, we're going to be talking about Nintendo's financial report. This week, obviously, they announced their financial report to see how they did well, especially for the holidays, to where they're going to be in terms of meeting, you know, how many units they were going to sell, and it looks like it's kind of a mixed bag in this way, although a little bit more on the positive side, though. It seems as though Nintendo certainly had a great holiday season, no thanks to the success of maybe several games like the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but it looks like they lowered their forecast in terms of how many units from the 20 million that they were hoping to reach to down to 17, which I thought they were going to reach 20 million, but obviously that's not the case. So according to, first we'll start off with their IR information, or this is their financial data, and as of December 31st, 2018, according to Nintendo, they are saying that in terms of hardware, they've so far, I believe, sold about 32.27 million units. In terms of software, it turns out they sold 163.61 million units. Over with the Nintendo 3DS, it sits at 74.84 million units in terms of hardware. With software, it's 375.97 million units. In terms of the top selling games, though, in terms of top selling games, let's see, I think it was just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The top 10 best-selling games we have here is Kirby Star Allies sits at 2.42 million units sold. Mario Tennis 8 sits at 2.53 million units sold. 1-2 Switch, the game that everyone doesn't understand why that is doing very well, but for some reason it is, sits at 2.86 million units sold. Super Mario Party sits at 5.30 million units sold. Splatoon 2 sits at 8.27 million units. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee sits at 10 million units sold. Don't know about each of the individuals. I assume if it's 10 million, my guess is that Pikachu sold 5 million and Eevee sold 5 million. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I assume that's what it is. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild shipped so far has sold 11.68 million units. Super Smash Brothers. This is the one that's kind of interesting, along with the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. This game has been out in December, and already, at least according to what Nintendo is saying, it shipped 12.8 million units. That's kind of amazing for a game like that. Super Mario Odyssey shipped around 13.76 million, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at the top with 15.2 million. Some people will point out to the bundle I think Nintendo did over the holidays with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. According to the Hollywood Reporter, they're saying that, quote, strong holiday boosts Switch, but Nintendo lowers sales guidance. It says, quote, the Switch console has sold 14.49 million units since last April, a nearly 20% increase year over year, driven in large part by a strong roster of exclusive game titles. It says, quote, Nintendo mostly got what it wanted for the holidays. The Japanese video game company saw a huge boost in sales over the holiday season, according to its most recent financial report released on Thursday. Nintendo Switch console has sold 14.49 million units since last April, a nearly 20% increase year over year, driven in large part by a strong roster of exclusive game titles. The company, however, had hoped to sell 20 million units in the 12-month period. In the last 3 months of 2018, Nintendo rolled out 3 exclusive games that all sold very well. Super Mario Party, released in October, as mentioned, 5.3. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, released in November, sold 10 million, and Super Smash Brothers sold 12.8 million units. Overall, software sales in the 9-month period topped 94 million units sold, a 100% year-by-year increase. Meanwhile, the company's handheld console, the Nintendo 3DS, now in its 8 years since launch, sold 2.31 million units. Sold a 60.5% decrease year over year, while classic consoles such as the NES Classic and Super NES Classics posted total sales of 5 million units. And according to Gadget 360, they're reporting that they're saying, quote, the Nintendo Switch sold 32.27 million units since its launch in March of 2017, with 14.49 million units sold last quarter. This was revealed during the company's latest financial reports. Nintendo has a 36% spike in quarterly operating profit, though it dropped its annual sales forecast for the Nintendo Switch from 20 million to 17 million, though it's expected to sell 110 million units of software instead of 100 million it previously estimated, though. It is worth pointing out, they also mentioned, outside of the top 10 best-selling games on the Nintendo Switch as of December 3rd, 2018, it also has some other entries as well. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze sold about 2.8 million. Octopath Traveler, not counting Japan, they're saying that sold 1.8 million. Not bad for that game. The Nintendo Labo, the Variety Kit, sold 1.6 million, though. Obviously, it sounds like that one probably did a bit better than the robot one, to be exact. And Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker sold 1.5 million. So overall, it certainly was a good year for, obviously, for Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch, even though I felt this kind of felt like a bit of an off year for them, to be exact. It is unfortunate that they had to lower their forecast from hoping to try to sell 20 million units for their fiscal year down to 17, though. But at the very least, it's not as bad as, say, I think one of their forecasts back during the Wii U era, where they were hoping to sell 9 million units, and they end up only selling 2.5 million for that fiscal year. I mean, for that fiscal year, though, and that was a disaster, to be exact. So, somewhat disappointed to see them having to lower their forecast, but at the very least, it looks like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee certainly did very well, despite some review bombs of the game and some people not liking it. It managed to sell 10 million, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate selling about, I think a little bit over 12 million. So overall, they certainly have a good holiday though. So it was kind of mixed though, but to me it sounded like their financial report was a little bit more on the positive side of it though. Probably they'll hit the 17 million. It would have been nice if they would have hit the 20 million, but obviously they didn't, so it's basically they're aiming for the 17 million. I think that one might be a bit easier to hit though, but we'll have to wait and see when they release their next fiscal earnings report. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 6. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 6. And this one has to do with a recent announcement that came out of not only the announcement of a new Dr. Mario game on mobile devices, but Nintendo might be teasing a brand new game as well. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 6th and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at an announcement of a mobile game from Nintendo that's going to be available on mobile devices this summer. I mean, say that, and Nintendo teasing that a new game is coming. So we'll start off with the first one. Now, the first one is that Nintendo announced that basically Dr. Mario is coming to mobile devices. Now, I remember playing Dr. Mario when that came out back in the day of the NES. I remember getting that for Hanukkah, I believe on the 7th night for Hanukkah. Why I can remember that is beyond me in any way. And that was a fun game as well, and it's very nice to see the game available again, playing it on the Nintendo Switch through their Switch Online service, although that's kind of debatable depending on how you want to look at it though. But to hear it come to the Nintendo coming to mobile devices is both interesting and yet concerning at the same time. From an article from Game Industry Buzz, link will be in the description, it says Nintendo is teaming up with Line to co-develop a new mobile game based on its Dr. Mario IP. The two companies will co-develop and jointly operate the action puzzle game Dr. Mario World, which is scheduled to launch early in the summer. Nintendo said the game's initial launch will encompass 60 countries, including Japan and the US. Dr. Mario World will be free to download with in-app purchases and will be available for both iOS and Android devices. For its part, Line has 165 million monthly active users across its 4 key markets: Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, and Indonesia. Summer 2019 will be particularly busy time for Nintendo's mobile strategy, thanks to the delay of Mario Kart Tour. Mario Kart mobile debut was supposed to launch before the end of the current fiscal year, but Nintendo has elected to delay its release due to concerns over the quality and post-release content. The idea of Dr. Mario being on a mobile device could actually work, considering it's a puzzle game and so forth, and I could see certain IPs from Nintendo that could work on mobile devices. Something like Dr. Mario could work, but maybe any of like the Brain Age games that could possibly work on the mobile devices. The in-app purchase part is going to be the part that might turn some people off. As we've seen before in the past, there have been a lot of mobile games that have been unfortunately saturated with a lot of games that have pushed the in-app purchase to the point of trying to turn it into a pay-to-win kind of situation though. However, that being said, I've played several of Nintendo's mobile games though, new Super Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes though, and both of those I've been pleased with though. I mean, they're not going to be the same way as playing like a Nintendo Switch and playing like an actual Mario game or a Fire Emblem game, but they're actually fun games. Fire Emblem Heroes, I've been able to play that without having to spend one single dime on it, particularly with the whole orbs thing, since you could get a new orb every day. Two, if you link your My Nintendo account, to be exact. And Fire Emblem game is and Super Mario Run is a simple just premium game and so forth. I know while it may not be in the same classic Mario level as other classic Mario games, it's still a fun game, still enjoyable game nevertheless. So I do have some hope that Nintendo will try to do this in a way that doesn't become a pay-to-win kind of situation. But I can understand how some people might be turned off, especially with the word in-app purchase, though. So if it's going to be a free-to-play and it's going to be in-app purchases, though, my hope is that it's done so in a manner that doesn't turn it into a pay-to-win kind of situation. As long as it's not a pay-to-win, as long as you can still enjoy the game without having to spend a single dime whatsoever, I'll tolerate it, though. Doesn't mean I 100% agree with it, but I'll at least tolerate it as long as it doesn't turn into a pay-to-win kind of approach. Another thing that was announced, I believe, during their quarter earnings is for Nintendo is that they have announced a unannounced title that fans will be delighted to know for 2019, and possibly some changes to their online service. According to WCCF Tech, they are reporting saying, quote, some big Nintendo Switch titles are launching later this year, but it seems like there are some surprises in stores, and games that fans will love is also releasing before the end of fiscal year 2019. As reported by Wall Street Journal, Takahashi, Mochizuki, apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly, Nintendo is working on at least one announced title for the Nintendo Switch that fans will be delighted to know. Nintendo says it's preparing at least one announced title for Switch in fiscal 19, April onward, that fans will be delighted to know. He says what that would be is certainly a question. They have put a question mark right there. It also says, quote, additionally, Nintendo also has a few unannounced titles that will be fit for the Nintendo Switch Online service. Regarding the Nintendo Switch Online service, the Japanese publisher has something in store for gaming enthusiasts, as it's apparently planning to launch a server that will cost more than the basic subscription later this year. The person's also saying the Switch monthly online service launched in 2018, and it plans to launch a new service aimed at gaming enthusiasts willing to pay more sometime in 2019. As far as the online service, though, it's been kind of a mixed bag, though. Recently, Nintendo announced that they've reached so far 8 million subscribers to their Nintendo Online service, but it has been kind of mixed for some people. Some people have had issues playing online with games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, although some people are experiencing some issues, not everybody is. Some people are not happy with the way they've handled their NES games, where they've only released like, 2 and just done little of it, though. And some people are certainly not happy with... Some people are not certainly happy with basically the whole voice chat option, the one where you basically have to speak, with your phone and all that stuff. So not everybody is pleased with that at all. So it's going to be interesting to see what they are going to do to aim to get gaming enthusiasts, like me to be exactly, to willing to pay more. So obviously they got to really offer something. Perhaps maybe a better voice chat option, maybe team up with Discord, or actually have something where we can use a headphone set or something like that. A proper headphone set. I mean, not like just plug into the Nintendo Switch, but perhaps maybe when it's in dock mode or something like that. So, and perhaps maybe better deals or something like that. So we'll have to wait and see what they're trying to offer, but they really have to do a better job with their online service. It's clear that not everybody is thrilled with it. As for what they are preparing for this at least one announced title that fans will be delighted to know, well, there are many ways we can interpret this. Some might see it as this may be an announcement of Mother 3 might be coming over to Nintendo Switch, although I'm not holding my breath on that one. Not that I say I would have loved to see that happen, I'm just not sure if that's the case. Other possibilities could be maybe, say, the possibility that we could get a Star Fox game, to be exact. There's that rumored Star Fox Grand Prix sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, that racing Star Fox game that was supposedly rumored and that Retro Studio was working on it, although there are claims that Platinum was working on it. We don't know about that. We don't know if that's true or not. It could be that. It could be an announcement of maybe the return of maybe finally a Golden Sun game for the excuse me, for the Nintendo Switch. That would be nice. Or maybe it could be, say there is a rumor going around, and this is only a rumor, that supposedly they have Metroid Prime Trilogy done and ready to, and as basically was running on the Nintendo Switch. So it's possible it could be that title as well, considering the fact that Metroid Prime 4 has now been delayed and is being rebooted after it's clear that they didn't live up to the standards they wanted to do. And of course, there's also the possibility that we could be getting maybe, say, a Pikmin game. Maybe the fact that they have Pikmin 4 up and running onto the Nintendo Switch. Maybe that's the one game that fans would be delighted to know about. Or possibly a Pikmin collection with Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. I could say Animal Crossing, and that could be a possibility. Although I believe they made an announcement during, I think, the Smash Bros. Direct, that an Animal Crossing game was in development. So it could be many things, or it could be a brand new IP to be exact. So, I mean, after all, we've gotten brand new IPs from Nintendo with Splatoon and, of course, ARMS as well. So we'll have to wait and see what the official, what this announcement is. So I am very curious to see what it is. So overall, it would be nice to know what we will be delighted to know, and what we like. Excuse me. I'm very curious to see what this game, supposedly this one announced title that Nintendo is preparing for the Nintendo Switch. Hopefully it's something that's good. Hopefully it lives up to people's expectations, although there have been times where some people have raised their expectation too high, only to be completely and utterly disappointed. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the official announcement that Darksiders War Master Edition is coming to the Nintendo Switch? Are you pleased with this announcement? You believe it? Are you going to pick this up for the Nintendo Switch, or do you already have it on PS4, Xbox One, or PC and it's not worth a pickup? Do you think this is a sign that Darksiders 2 and possibly Darksiders 3 could be coming to the Nintendo Switch? What are your thoughts about this rumor about Assassin's Creed coming to the Nintendo Switch, specifically Assassin's Creed 3 and Liberation, though? Are you pleased that do you believe this rumor is true? Do you want to see Assassin's Creed 3 or Liberation come to the Nintendo Switch? Do you think they should port Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flags? Do you think this could open the door for future Assassin's Creed games coming to the Nintendo Switch if this rumor turns out to be true, to be exact? What about this update on the Frostbite engine running on the Nintendo Switch? Do you think that this change this person made on this Lincoln page, do you think that it was a typo, that Frostbite engine is not running on the Nintendo Switch? Do you think that do you think the cat came out of the bag over this? Excuse me. Do you think we are going to see games running on the Frostbite engine on the Nintendo Switch, or do you think it's unlikely we're going to see that happen? What are your thoughts about Resident Evil 2 Remake doing very well? Do you think that are you enjoying the game? Have you picked it up? Do you like it though? Do you think that we could see a remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and Code Veronica happen, or do you think that's unlikely to happen? What are your thoughts about Nintendo's financial reports? Were you pleased with what you read? Were you not pleased? Do you believe it met the expectation of what you thought it was going to be? Are you disappointed that they dropped it from 20 million units sold in their fiscal quarter down to 17? Or do you think that was kind of expected? Or do you think 20 million was a bit unrealistic? And what are your thoughts about Dr. Mario and Nintendo teasing a new unannounced game for 2019? Are you pleased that Dr. Mario is going to be coming to mobile devices? Are you okay with this? Do you think the in-app purchase and microtransaction is going to be an issue? Do you prefer Dr. Mario to be on a brand new Dr. Mario, to be exact, to be available on Nintendo Switch instead. And what do you think Nintendo is teasing about a new game for 2019 for the Switch? Do you think it could be a revival of games like Pigma, Golden Sun? Do you think it could be a new IP, or do you think they're just pulling our leg or anything like that? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I do. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!